going after me for saying you can't indiscriminately bomb civilian areas. Even if the bad guys are there. Even if the bad guys are there, you can't take out 2, 10, 12, 1,500 people, innocent people, in order to get the one bad guy.
It's been known for some time now that Israel and the US have been complicit in war crimes. When this has been put to them in the past, they've either ignored questions and points made about the illegal occupation, or, as we saw earlier this week, they get thrown out, as Sam Husseini and Max Blumenthal did from a press conference on the ceasefire in Palestine. This time, though, outgoing President Joe Biden let slip, while thinking he was gloating during an MSNBC interview, that America had been knowingly supporting and funding indiscriminate carpet bombing of Gaza and the West Bank under the fallible pretense that they have a legal and legitimate reason for doing so. In the one-to-one discussion on the Last Word show, Biden recalled a discussion he had with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu shortly after Hamas's counter-offensive against their Israeli occupiers in October of 2023, and said the quiet part out loud on the issue of bombing strategy, plus one or two other things of note. Let's see what's happening.
When I went to Israel, immediately after their attack by Hamas, 8 days later, whatever it was.
Just very quickly there, that may be a genuine slip of the tongue, but whatever caused him to say their attack, referring to Israel before quickly changing it to Hamas, but it should be a reminder that IDF forces are known to have killed many of the 1,200 people who were casualties on October the 7th, including at the now notorious music festival where an Israeli helicopter deliberately fired on their own citizens. Just saying.
And I told him we were going to help. And I said, but Bibi, I said, you can't be carpet bombing these communities. And he said to me, well, you did it. You carpet bombed, not his exact words, but you carpet bombed Berlin. You dropped a nuclear weapon. You killed thousands of innocent people because you had to in order to win a war. I said, but that's why we came up with the UN. New deals by which what we would do relative to civilians and military.
While that may be historically accurate, it's not as though the United States have ever given much of a damn about what the United Nations think, as demonstrated by this ongoing situation, as well as others such as Iraq in the past.
So he was comparing 21st century war tactics, battle tactics, with World War II.
Well, what he was really doing is he was going after me for saying you can't indiscriminately bomb civilian areas. Even if the bad guys are there. Even if the bad guys are there, you can't take out 2, 10, 12, 1,500 people, innocent people, in order to get the one bad guy.
Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, eh? That's what I'm on about.
And there you have it. In an attempt to claim to be some sort of moral pariah, he's unwittingly admitted that for the last 15 months, he's been knowingly arming and funding a state that's committing war crimes, i.e. carpet bombing. There are, of course, many other infractions in the arrest warrants issued by the ICC, but the slip-up here confesses his prior knowledge of at least one. Since he had this conversation with Netanyahu, he's pumped about $30 billion, or $2 billion per month, into this illegal and murderous venture, as well as much more in support in the form of weapons and intelligence. That makes them directly complicit.
And he made a legitimate argument. His perspective said, look, these are the guys that kill my people. These are the guys that are all over in these tunnels. Nobody had any idea the miles of tunnels are down there. It's amazing what they built. And they're sometimes 200 feet under the ground. Only way to get to them is take out the places where they were under which they got to the tunnels.
Israel helped Hamas build the tunnels, Joe.
And so that's the first time I had the discussion about bombing civilian areas was when I went over after the 9/11, after the massacre that occurred.
Biden's getting his dates mixed up there. 9/11, 4th of July. He meant to say October 7th, of course, but that's beside my point here, which is that even after the very first conversation he had with Netanyahu, he was happy to splurge tens of billions on someone who thinks what the United States did in World War II should be applicable in the 2020s.
So on that first trip, 10, 11 days after October 7th, you already raised
the issues
of how to get to a ceasefire.
Well, not a ceasefire, how to prevent innocent death.
What? By funding and arming it?
Yes.
And then I pushed really, really hard for more humanitarian aid to go in.
Well, if he did, then he didn't push nearly as hard as was required, with barely any trucks making it through to the millions of starving Gazans in the last 15 months. If Joe's trying to do the good guy act here, then he's completely failed. All of his "I tried to stop the unhinged maniac" routine has only publicly unveiled what's been so obvious for so long. Despite all the attempts to deceive the world and deflect criticism, we know that the United States and Israel are complicit, and if the ceasefire that's just been agreed should somehow last, then after Gaza is rebuilt, then those responsible for its destruction and the death and suffering that come with it should face the consequences if there's to be any sense of justice.
Why aren't you in The Hague? Why aren't you in The Hague? Why aren't you in The Hague?
As always, I'd like to know what you think about this, so please do add your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe and thumbs up buttons to help us out on the algorithm. You can now join the channel with a membership for just 99p with some great perks for you to enjoy, including exclusive content and early viewings, plus lots more. And you get to join the list of awesome people who support the channel that you can see on your screen right now. Hit the join button or follow the links in the channel description. If you'd like to make a one-off contribution, then please hit super thanks on the video or follow the link to our Buy Me a Coffee page where you can help to show solidarity and support the channel for just the price of a tasty hot beverage. All contributions are greatly appreciated. Thanks again everyone. My left eye, be seeing you soon.